years. And like I said, we have a treat for you today. We have Mikos Mitchell with us. Welcome to the show, Mikos.
Thank you.
But before we get into our conversation, I want to tell you a little bit about Mikos, that he's written 41 plays since 2002. That's correct. 41. And if that isn't astonishing enough, let me tell you that he was nonverbal until the age of 6. But today he sits with us with 2 college degrees in psychology. He went to grad school. He's got a driver's license, and he mentors autistic kids now. Mikos, I feel so honored to have you on the show today. Thank you for being here.
You're so welcome, Chad.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey as far back as you can remember? What do you remember growing up?
So I was born on June 11th, 1984. It's a suburb of Chicago. I was born in McNeil Hospital. And then my parents' names were Alicia Johnson and Michael Mitchell, Sr., my mother and father. And then I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2 at Michael Reed's Hospital in Chicago. And I grew up in a suburb of Chicago called Summit, Illinois. It's right by Chicago Midway Airport. It's basically an outskirt of the southwest side of Chicago, but it's a suburb.
Okay. And go ahead.
My first memory was at age 3.
Wow. And you were nonverbal at the time.
Yeah, in time.
Do you remember that being difficult, or?
Like both my parents are deceased now, but I know I got a sister named Margaret Johnson. Then San Diego, California, my older brother Michael Mitchell II. But my mother would tell me if I was alive. I remember being nonverbal. Like I would like scream and cry, like with separation anxiety. When my mother left, my mom raised 4 children by herself. I'm like middle child, the second youngest, but I function as a firstborn, even though I got 2 older siblings, and I helped raise my younger brother, Mac Henry Johnson, but he lives in Davenport, Iowa. But back to my story, I would like run around. And then my first good memory is when I accidentally burned myself with coffee at the age of 3.
All right, tell us. We got to know why that's. We got to know why that's a good memory.
Yep.
Why is that a good memory?
It's not really a good memory, but it's more like a bad memory. That's like the first memory that I can really remember. And then I can remember age 4. Like I went to Aero Special Education in Burbank, Illinois. I remember going on the Harneys and going on a small yellow school bus.
Oh, yeah?
I think I remember being repetitive at the age, even though I was nonverbal. I watched the news, the TV shows from the late 80s. I would watch Full House, and I would watch Wonder Years and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Real Fortune and Jeopardy.
I watched those too. Was growing up difficult, or did you have a nice childhood?
I had a nice childhood. And then, as you hear about my story, my first word was Beetlejuice at the age of 6.
Really?
And then I had moved up half a block away in Summit, Illinois, and then I remember saying the word Beetlejuice, and my mother were proud of me.
Aww.
Yeah, I was the youngest until my baby brother was born in 93, but this was 1990. And then I can remember growing up.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
It was a good childhood, you said?
Yep.
Did being nonverbal or on the autism spectrum, was that challenging for you, or?
It was challenging to my mother. Like, I can remember her saying she thought I was deaf around 3 or 4 years old. And then she found out I have autism, like high functioning autism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you start getting into writing plays?
I started writing plays when I was a teenager, 17, but I read in the newspaper at the age of 16. I was a teenager then, and I did a lot of things when I was a teenager. At first, I used to slam dunk the basketball. I
You
actually
did?
grabbed the rim at the age 11. I'm 6 foot now,
Nice.
but when I was 11, I grew from 5'4" to 5'8" in sixth grade, and I would grab the basketball rim. And then fast forward to age 14, I became a DJ, and my DJ name was DJ Too Bad Meek, and I was
Yeah.
listening to house music and Chicago house music, and then age 17, I written my first play.
Wow. And you just, where did is that just something that was inside you? You just had a passion for plays? What made you, how were you inspired to start writing plays?
It was William Shakespeare. Like, it was my senior year in high school, 12th grade, and I was in a literature class, literature and rhetoric, and it was Argo Community High School in Summit, Illinois. And then I read Shakespeare, Julius Caesar, Et tu
Wow.
Brute, and You Two Brutus, and then I started writing plays. And then another person who inspired me was Tyler Perry. Yeah, he played as Medea Simmons. He was already famous before he did his movies. After I watched the play A Diary of a Mad Black Woman, the play, I started writing. And we were just getting over the events of 9/11. This was like 2002.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Wow. So have you ever directed any of the plays or brought any of them to life or
I brought, I studied, I minored in theater arts at the University of Iowa. I actually been studying theater since I was 17. And then the community college I went to was Scott Community College in Bettendorf, Iowa. I took a theater class, intro to theater, and then I took a couple playwriting courses at the University of Iowa, and then I've written, and then I was working on a play called Living in Iowa City in 2014, 2014, and that's when I was living in Hastings, Minnesota, with my ex-girlfriend and her family, and then I was writing this play called Living in Iowa City, and then Andy Langerfield from Black Dirt Theater read the script, he liked it, and that's how I got involved with Black Dirt Theater. Fast forward to 2015, I written a short play called Starstruck, and it was a sci-fi fantasy play. I think that's the only play I brought it to life.
to life? That one? Was that
It
fun
was,
experience?
yeah, it was part of a new 24-hour play challenge.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome. And you said you mentor young kids?
yeah, I've been doing that since 2020. Yeah, and one of them live in Glens Falls, New York, and she's 6 years old, and I've been mentoring her since 2020 when she was 4, and her mother and I are good friends, and I watched her grow from being 4 years old, a preschool child to a school age child, and she has like a club foot and ADHD, and I would video call her. She'll video call me with her mom's permission because we was dealing with COVID-19 global pandemic in 2020. She was like, "Mikos, can we play Roblox now?"
Yeah.
And another person I mentored live in a suburb of Minneapolis, Richfield, Minnesota. He just turned 8 2 days. No, he just turned 8 2 days ago. I'm friends with his mom and dad, and he likes Super Mario Brothers.
Awesome. So what inspired you to become a mentor for these kids?
Well, my late mother, she know love writing plays. When I was like 18 years old, like she said, Mikos, you should really mentor these kids. You should really talk about your story in your life. And then another one was another ex girlfriend of mine. This was last year before I broke up with her. Like, you should really put it out there, make a YouTube video. And then ever since, I've been helping people out. It's
That's
my
awesome.
passion. I want to tell them my autism journey and help them with their autism journey.
That's awesome. You have such a positive vibe about you. Have you always been that way?
Yeah, like I had the drive and the passion to be successful. Even when I had a few struggles, like I like motivate myself.
Who was inspiring mentor for you growing up?
For me,
Yeah, who
it
who
was
uh, helped you through the difficult times?
I would say my mother and like my mother's like boyfriend. He was like a stepfather to me, but really that was my mom's boyfriend and the special education teachers.
Yeah, you
Like
had
it
some good
inspired me
teachers.
to yeah.
That's awesome. So, do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I'm 37. I'll be 38 on June 11th.
Wow, that's awesome. Um, what do you what would you say to the kids out there that are on the spectrum that are struggling, that feel like some of some of the things that they deal with is making life difficult, and they what do you say to them?
I would say to the kids that I'm mentoring, or all the kids that's on the autism spectrum, there's hope. Take it one day at a time. None of us is perfect. And I would say, if you want to be successful, like, you gotta take it one day at a time and have the support. I'm there to support the kids and be there for them.
Aw, that's so sweet. I mean, did you ever deal with any bullies or things growing up?
Yeah, I was bullied a few times. Well, my freshman year in high school, like I was more like a class clown, but I was bullied a few times. One of like my mother, she inspired me. Well, like I really looked up to my mother, but when at times that we had disagreements, I kind of was bullied. Yeah, it was by my mom. It was like a disapproval, disagreement, and then I went from being bullied to being popular. My senior year, I was being popular, and then University of Iowa, my years, I sounded like a motivational speaker.
That's awesome. That's because your spirit is so positive. I mean, you just have such a good vibe about you. I think you're an unbelievable mentor. There's a lot of kids that are really struggling being on the spectrum.
Yeah,
They don't they feel depressed.
and I'm here to make a difference.
You are making a difference, man. You're making a difference for me today. I feel pumped. I'm excited, you know.
Yep.
Um, there's a lot of what do you say to the parents out there who are raising kids on the spectrum and they're having challenges and difficulty raising the kids? What do you say to them?
For the parents, like I would say, be patient to your children, and yeah, you can discipline your kids, but you can also offer them reinforcements. Like like I believe I do believe in rewards and punishments, but really it's them, like redirect them to different activity, and then allow the child or children to be children. Like I wouldn't want the parents to overprotect their kids, even that's on the autism spectrum. Give them something to do, like have them join Special Olympics or the autism clubs,
That's a
or
good.
have a men- autistic mentor like me.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome. That's awesome. So, what are your thoughts on? Did you have ABA therapy? Did you have speech therapy? Were you in those kinds of things when you were growing up?
I had speech therapy, yeah, but I heard about ABA therapy because I studied psychology, applied behavior analysis. That's what it's called, ABA. I had
Yes,
a lot of speech therapy, and there's some words that I still have trouble pronouncing, even in English. Even though I took a foreign language, that I still have trouble in Spanish. But it took, that's probably what wanted me to write plays and help mentor these autistic kids. It's like going back through my experience and relating to them.
it's I got five kids and two of them have special needs, and
Mm-hmm.
and those two kids work so much harder than my other kids because they go to school and then when they're out of school they're in speech therapy, they're having ABA, they're still working. um, did you have
Yep.
to work hard growing
Yeah,
up?
I did. Like, I'm like being repetition, repetition. I have echolea, and that will work with my schoolwork. Like junior high school, I will study a lot. I
You
will
did.
study more than usual. And like, I'm like being repetition, repetition. I have echolea, and that will work with my schoolwork. Like junior high school, I will study a lot. I
You
will
did.
study more than usual, and I was on the honor roll and the B honor roll. I think my junior year I was a straight A student, and I had to study algebra and geometry on my own, trigonometry,
Wow.
pre-calculus,
Wow.
and I read Moby Dick and Ernest Hemingway and Mark Twain, Charles Dickens in my junior year. Like,
Wow.
I worked harder than most people.
That's amazing. Well, it's paying off, huh?
Hmm.
um, what's going on for you now? Or what's next for you?
What next for me? Like, after today's interview, like tomorrow, I got like a second interview at the Minnesota Autism Center in for Rochester, Minnesota. So I have applied for the behavior practitioner, mental health practitioner. I'm basically applying all the skills that I learned by mentoring kids. And I have my own Facebook group on Facebook Messenger. Originally, it was called Mikos Autism Journey, and now it's called the Mikos is No Drama Group. And then in June, I'll be flying on an airplane for the first time ever,
Wow.
and I'll be going to Seattle area because we'll be seeing two friends of mine and her 7-year-old daughter. And her 7-year-old daughter was recently diagnosed with autism, and and she helped me. Her mother helped me a lot, like how to set boundaries and how to prepare for interviews. And she's helping me with life skills while I'm mentoring her 7-year-old daughter.
That's awesome. So are you more excited or nervous to go on a plane?
Both.
Yeah. Did you know that flying on a plane is safer than walking to your mailbox?
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
taking a stats course in college, statistics, probability,
Yeah.
and odds.
Wow. Well, that's exciting. Um, are you still writing plays or?
I still write plays. I still write plays time to time, but now I'm focusing more on the autism part helping people with autism, but the next play I'm writing would be called A Princess. It's based on a 6-year-old autistic girl who lives in Glens Falls, New York.
Wow.
Yeah, the name of it would be Princess, and I would write a play about Mona and Disney Frozen, Frozen 2. It would be
Awesome.
based on that.
And who is your Facebook page for? Like who
It's for the parents and mostly autistic kids. Like I was trying to create a support group because I had a hard time arranging to meet with them in person due to the COVID-19 global pandemic and the distance
be
and the
online
cost.
yet, or are you just building it, just starting?
I'm building the community, and I got another page. I got a Facebook group, and then I have a page called Mikos' Autism Journey. I'm trying to set that up.
Yeah. And
Mhm.